Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Axis playthrough. In the last episode, we reached January 16th, 1942. It's winter now. We're surrounding Moscow. We've done almost everything we're going to do on this front. There wasn't a lot we could do. It was mostly movement. What attacks did happen weren't as favorable KDR-wise as they usually are, because in winter there's a penalty to attacks. But they were still favorable, and I was still happy with them. Again, we've covered almost everything on this front. One thing I failed to do was move this tactical bomber. It's hard to see in the snow in this game, to be honest. I'm just going to move it up here, I think. There's like this opening here, like, oh, well, Russia could come down here and attack this HQ, this bomber. I don't really think that's going to happen against an AI. I wouldn't have moved like this against a player to begin with. We also went ahead and we just sank the Courageous Carrier, which was somewhere over here. We have a bunch of subs that we have to deal with, but that was an accomplishment. I believe Italy was pretty much fully handled last turn. If anything, I might just buy some more garrisons with them, because we're starting to need more of those everywhere for numerous reasons. There are other things I could try to save for, research and the like, but I put off buying things with them for too long. I believe we already have one garrison in the works, but in order to free up Bulgarian units and other things that are important, having some more garrisons would be useful. Let me see. Yeah, we're already producing one garrison. Well, we definitely want another one. Let's get the 7th garrison. I am tempted also to get one for East Africa and give it infantry weapons 1, because there's not a lot of troops down there, and the enemy garrisons have proven that they're willing to run around and cause some mischief. And we lost this one originally down by Somaliland, Somalia, that region. So, oh wow, that's more expensive for a colony, but I will go ahead and get this because it'll just put it down there where it's convenient, so I can take that and then move it somewhere else. We don't have the territory where that originally went anymore, but it could still fill an important role over here, assisting the actual Italian garrison that is down in this region. Otherwise, we've already done all the attacks there are to do as Italy. We've already run into a Canadian destroyer, because of course we have. And that's pretty much Italy entirely. Japan has the next biggest chunk of work to do, so let's look at them. We'll take this special forces, and we can't actually get here right now. It's probably just a result of the lack of movement. Not enough action points to move all the way over here just due to this HQ being here. But the HQ looks like its supply is going down. Corregidor's supply is down to 3 a turn. I swear to God, it was much higher than that a moment ago. So we're going to move the whatever number XIX core is down into Manila. Could take care of that partisan point right there. And now Manila is kind of properly defended by a core. There is still this issue with the 12th Air Force fighters to work on, so let's try to fix that. I'll take this special forces that was placed over here at Naha, send that down this way, use its amphibious attack on the enemy fighters there. We dealt 4 damage, took none, and then we can finish it off with the special forces that are already there and have no supply, by the way, shattering the enemy and winning the fight. Technically, the settlement still belongs to the enemy. So this is the turn that we would start taking some entrenchment damage, technically, because we can't land after doing that attack for whatever reason. We would have to land somebody else there if I really wanted to secure that, like right now, but we'll take what? 1-2 damage at most? Look at the price of that. Each one for special forces is 11 MPPs. Do that full reinforcement, by the way. And to actually land a transport like this, to take this, would be more like taking 70, 60, however much MPPs it takes to get a long-range transport up. I'll just take the damage, and then I'll just get this thing healed up at some point, and that will be it. I don't have the MPPs to min-max all of these things anyway, so that really just works out. I also can't get more because we just have so many of them. I think we have more than we're even supposed to be able to have, and that's just as like a starting thing. This next one is gonna be a weird bit of a long shot here, but I think it's a pretty important thing to do. I don't think anybody's defending Kukum. Because I've played Japan. Oh no, I've played the Allies, and I know that I didn't have anybody here. They would have had to manually move someone here, and yet I could put bombers here to hinder supply to Australia, which could be relevant. Very relevant indeed. So we're going to take the South Sea Special Forces, how apt. We're going to force them, because you kind of have to do it that way, down just next to Kukum. I say next to, we have to land separately. But then we should just be able to step on Kukum and take it. And then that should basically just take the Solomon Islands for us. And look like this is where Guadalcanal is too. We should just be able to essentially snatch this for ourselves. We can full heal next turn, and I can eventually move some bombers out here, which I have actually already gotten bombers specifically with this in mind many turns ago. And so yeah, this is part of the Solomons, so this would be ours. This does give some MPPs as well, which is nice. It would take a while, as we know, like a year to really pay off landing a special forces there. But I think combined with the buff from the bombers and just putting a maritime bomber here in general, that would really just pay itself off. The Solomons are also a, well, subsidiary, I guess, a minor of the UK, I believe. And so just taking them out would be good, because this is a national morale objective. And the major powers do feel the losses of the minor powers under them. The army that we have down here by Malaya can get 5 kills on the West Force Corps of Malaya for no losses, so let's go ahead and take that. Yeah, and it worked out just as it promised it would. If I had more armies here, we could min-max this a little bit more maybe, but I don't think that's really necessary. I guess Malaya does start out with a couple cores or whatever, but still, that many losses, it will have trouble sustaining this at 5 supply. It could exactly sustain it, but this is a matter of the UK has to spend points over here, and I already know how difficult it is to extend points as the UK. You never have enough, but most of the world relies on your MPP pool. Meanwhile, I did opt for the more established Burma to be one of my main fronts here, so let's move forward. And I can get this army up here, and I shall. I could really pick and choose, but I really do want to commit to Burma. I think taking Burma would help against the war in China in general so much more. Plus opening up India in a way. It would also make shipping supplies into China just like harder. I feel like it's just a better place to push against the AI, considering my fast speed strategy. But we can walk right up to Rangoon and with a blitz attack, immediately attack it, dealing 2 damage potentially. Yes. Taking none, just as promised. That works out pretty well. We could further move in here as well. I'm a little nervous to do that because then I'd have to like move off of Bangkok. And right now, I don't think that's necessarily worth it. I don't have enough HQs to split this attention in both directions. So I'm trying to maintain both directions a little bit. Prioritizing Burma, of course. There's a lot of work to do over by Hawaii. We need to move the special forces here to properly claim this port for us. We need a good visual over Hilo as well if we're going to secure this not very financially important point, but strategically important point. Oh yeah, and that's right. These all have national morale values as well. I forgot. It doesn't actually need to say national morale objective to have a national morale value. I forgot about that a little bit. But we're going to take the Kaga carrier. We're going to move that forward. No, that won't quite work. Something else has to move a little closer, but that's fine. That works out just fine. I'm also just going to move probably some of these into port, whether they need it or not. Let's say this one and this one. We'll go ahead and move the Akagi over here. And it can spot the special forces America still has in Hilo. Not only can it spot the special forces in Hilo, it can spot that the Americans have moved their plane out of here, meaning they must have operated their plane out of here, meaning I've scared them into spending, God, how many MPPs is that? Ugh. Operating planes is expensive, man. It's fucking pricey. But that's good. That is good knowledge that we now have. So, we're gonna have to end up reshuffling some things around here. I'm gonna move these back a little bit, because I believe we'll have range over all this no matter what. Yeah. And so, let's see. Move the Sukazi Destroyer. I shouldn't even try to pronounce the names of these things, man. I can't even do it. Move the cruisers in line. And with literally just the screens, we can guard all the carriers completely. These battleships are not really needed unless American battleships show up. So it's time we take our many bombers and unleash them on Hilo as we did onto Honolulu. Which for right now, we don't actually even know what the state of this thing is. Let's take the Kaga. The Kaga's got the best chance due to all of its experience. Yep, 1 damage dealt. We don't really know the strength of this Special Forces, but we know weakening it is smart because supply at Hilo maxes out at 5. Therefore, it can't really fix itself beyond a certain point, so we will take advantage of its weakness, do some damage with the carriers. Especially with these guys that just can't really do anything else this turn anyway. We've already dealt like 3 damage for free. I am probably just going to reinforce the aircraft on the Zuiho, although it can only go up to like 8. So maybe that's not even the best. The supply isn't enough here to do any real upgrades or anything else. So yeah, you know what, actually, we're just going to keep bombing. We've done like 4 damage to it. We've done like 5 damage to it. It just keeps taking damage at this point. Yeah, I want to keep one on fighter just in case the Allies come over the American fleet with any other carriers, or with carriers in general. We haven't actually had a carrier fight yet. So we'll just reinforce the Zuiho to have a better fighter complement. These other guys, ooh, let's see. So supply-wise, he can reinforce the best because he just landed. So we'll reinforce this one. This one can't reinforce fully because it's already been here for so long and supply here is just so bleh. So, what I'll probably do with this one is maybe I'll just park it on Honolulu. Pearl Harbor as ports, I believe, will provide enough supply to get both of these fully up to 10 no matter what. So we can look at getting this Special Forces out of here sooner rather than later. It can be the one to land and actually kill the enemy Special Forces here. I don't know that we'll need more than one. Killing a Special Forces is a tall order. We don't need this guy on Honolulu just yet. So, okay, you know what? We'll just move him here. We'll reinforce you for now. Best as we can, anyway. And then let's deal with these subs. These subs are... They just stopped by here for some supply, but they're on their way to commencing some convoy raiding against the New Zealand and Australian convoy lines. Let's see if we can just make some real good progress in that direction then. Maybe over here by the Chesterfield Islands. Yep. Very nice. Let's get the other one moving down there. That was a slightly different route, but they're both there. Pretty much both 1 turn away now from being able to strike both of these points at their source, which is good, because we don't really have a whole lot raiding here, so having Japan get in on it would be nice. Taking a look closer to China for right now, the 13th Army is across the river. As we know, it's destroyed an enemy plane. Rather than go for the other enemy plane, Chungking is the priority. It is. Stepping into this fortress is a very important thing. It deleted it, which I still don't understand that, but we now have an army, another army, pressed up against the enemy army at Chungking, and overall stand a better chance when it comes to weakening it. There's a lot of places where our bombers could do a lot of really good damage. One of those places is not Chungking. However, what we could do in damage might be worth it for weakening Chungking and allowing these armies to spill over and actually take Chungking and effectively eliminate the maybe the biggest source of remaining Chinese morale. Like, they lose their capital, they're going to lose a lot of morale. And it's just going to be a matter of mopping them up more than it's going to be a matter of actually fighting them. So let's go ahead and let's try some bombings. We'll start with the medium bombers. I think this is a very important thing to do. It's one of those things where, yeah, we can just go for elite reinforcements again, but this is not in the winter. Everything around it is, but this is not. So this is our chance. So let's try. I think I just accidentally... No, I used the medium bombers. Or no, I used the tackle bombers? I have no idea what I'm using. But these are fighters. Okay. I got so confused there for a second. We dealt like at least 3 damage to these guys, and we actually hurt them with the medium bombers. We were not supposed to do any damage at all. Second Air Army fighters getting some additional experience, looks like. Didn't intend them to, but I guess I won't complain. Then we have the 2 tactical bombers. We'll start with the less experienced one. Okay. Ooh, we took some damage. That's not good, but with the winter rolling in, we'll have plenty of time to repair and recover. The enemy readiness and morale here, especially the morale, has been shot, and it has a very noticeable effect on the front. Let's try with our better off tactical bombers now. 1 damage dealt, none taken. Okay, only the weaker tactical bombers, the newer ones that have, like, now they have XP, which they'll lose when I reinforce, took any damage at all. And it came not from the fighters, but just from the bombing itself. Now that we've made this kind of progress, the eyes need to be on the prize. And so we have a blitz attack that can do pretty well, a prepared attack, and then we have some swaps maybe. But it doesn't seem like we'll have enough to simultaneously deal all the damage required to kill this and step on it, unfortunately. Which means another army could move in. However, another army moving in isn't going to have the 6 entrenchment that this one had. So let's start with the 13th Army doing its blitz attack. Only 1 damage dealt, unfortunately, but I think that just pushed the 13th Army into 3 XP. I think it was at 2 XP before. Not too worried about this corps in comparison. Let's attack now with the Central Expedition Army. 3 damage dealt as expected, 1 damage received, not expected. We can just move in here normally. Supply is really good in this region. We'll take a step back. We'll move the 3rd Army forward. And we're going to blitz attack. We dealt no damage and took 1 damage, even though it was hopefully supposed to be the other way. That sucks. But it is what it is. We're fighting an army and we've dealt an insane amount of damage for almost no damage. And this is the army on Chungking. They can reinforce this up to full. But we've already taken away half of its entrenchment. If they reinforce it, they'll lose all gained XP. Readiness and morale will still be shit. We have pretty good odds. Otherwise, if they, like, move another army here, they might move one that's not upgraded. We have a good chance of very soon, in a turn or 2, taking Chungking, the main capital of China. That's where I'm focusing my bombers, my air efforts, and these land efforts. Now, something very interesting happened over here during the Allied playthrough of their turn. The Indian forces, a lot of them that spawned, they haven't gone to Africa like I used them for. They haven't gone anywhere. They stayed in India, and then they came through here, through Lido at the Pangsao Pass, directly into China. I forget if China's a cooperative ally or not, so I don't know how well supplied these guys will end up being, but they're actually pushing in towards Kunming and Wanting, which I believe is where the Burma Road leads into, I believe is where the hump might lead into at some point. And so they're gonna hold this, because I can't dedicate that many forces for this. So while I may be about to take Rangoon and cut off the Burma Road, the hump will open up soon. And again, there's really nothing I can do. They have an entire Indian Army Special Forces and a corps here, and I'm focused on taking Chungking. That's way more important than stopping some far less efficient supplies from reaching China. Right now, assuming the Burma Road is going, then America only paid 175 MPPs total. This is much more than what they paid for the Hanoi Kunming Railroad, I'm pretty sure, but that's already gone. Burma Road's 175 MPPs, gives China 60 per turn, but by this point they've already fully paid for the Burma Road, so it's just free MPPs again after another initial cost. Once we do bump them down to just using the hump, which I assume they will accept, that's probably guaranteed, the USA will lose 60 MPPs per turn. They will actually have to constantly trade 1-to-1 60 MPPs to keep giving 60 MPPs per turn to China. So getting them down to the hump will cause a constant expenditure at the very least. It's putting it in the hands of China, which, I don't know, is maybe just not that big a deal. Either way, this will only be good for us once we take Burma. If only I could take the hump, that would be better, because, well, China would just be easier to kill, but I'll take what I can get. Overall, I'm just trying to find the light in every situation while examining the cons of every situation. Speaking of, we have more stuff to do. Don't know what that has to do with what I was just saying, but let's attack with the 1st Kwantung Army. This enemy corps up in the hills. 4 damage dealt, none taken. That is a very nice trade, if you ask me. To the north in the snow, by the way, there is this troublesome communist Chinese army that is injured, that is blocking my path, and we are going to unblock the path, starting with the 17th Army attacking across the river into a snowy, like, mountain. 4 damage dealt, no damage taken. Hell fucking yeah. There's a lot of things I could do right now that might be more efficient than what I'm about to do, but I'm still going to do it. We're going to attack with the 11th Regional Army, wiping out that army for good. National morale bonus, there you go. That allows some more movement over into these hills, unless they move something else forward, I don't really know. The 2nd Kwantung Army is probably going to stay put and just attack this. We might be able to just keep moving anyway. I don't know. We're going to attack. 4 damage dealt to this enemy core, no damage taken. Oh, we can not only attack, we can move even further in. Like, we can do some pretty good stuff right now, actually. Nobody here can do much due to a mixture of supply. Well, this one could have reinforced, but it was worth taking this out. It's a whole fucking army. Communist Chinese army, by the way, which I don't think they actually get back. This engineer is here still, just like calling me, like, oh, come take me. That's, I don't know, but it's here. I don't want to attack it though. I want to attack this HQ. So I think I can do that though. Yeah, I think I can. So if we take the 17th Army and we move that up here, right? Move the 11th back, it'll get a chance to kind of bring itself back up to strength. Send the 6th Army around. It can do as much damage as this could have done to this unit, just due to the XP and reinforcement differentials. So we're going to use it to attack the Peng HQ, because HQ damage is really hard to restore. And this is communist China. This is going to take points right out of China as well, because they're functioning as one entity. We did take 1 damage, which is unfortunate. I think we only dealt 3 damage, which is unfortunate. We can go for elite reinforcements here, and given the spectrum of movement that we can accomplish, I think I'm going to opt for that. I don't usually opt for that, but I think I'm going to opt for that. 28 MPPs, yeah, I'm going to opt for that on this unit. I don't believe they're going to push down this road any further, but if they do, they will regret it. Oh, they will regret it. 2nd Kwantung Army shouldn't stay here. This is just like the worst spot for supply, literally, compared to everywhere else. So we're going to move forward a little bit more down the road. We can see there's a bunch of Chinese corps over here, which are not very well supplied. The readiness for morale is low. Now they got an army next to them. This one's about to die. I see a lot of things that are probably going to get slaughtered. And even though China does get their units back eventually, they still need to do some reinforcing. They just don't have to pay as much to build new armies. They still lose morale when they lose things that are corps and armies. And Chinese morale right now is at 63%. I mean, look at a graph of that. National morale on China. Holy wow. Look at how quickly it just starts dropping off once we started making big progress. It levels off a little bit, and then like we get more major drops, and I think we're near another big drop coming up soon. I'd also like to draw attention to the fact that American national morale's down to almost 80%. I don't think I lost anywhere near this much morale as America. I think I only got down to like early 90 percentile, not early 80 percentile. Logistically, we still have to send this corps east. This is going to Hawaii. I'm gonna leave a corps on Hawaii. I don't have enough corps to do as much garrisoning in the Pacific as I'd like, so of course we're only going for the more important locations. Manila, Batavia, Hawaii, that's pretty fucking important. So that's just gonna head east for now. I guess we'll send it over into this little spot right next to Eniwetok. don't know how to say that, but it could reach Honolulu as soon as I move someone out of here. So for now, it should be fine to just chill out here until it's ready to actually land. But it needs a port availability. We also need to have a port with 5 supply like this one to pull that off. Don't know how I'm going to handle repairs of the fleet. I'm probably going to repair the fleet literally out here, because the fleet isn't really desperately needed anywhere else. It's just fighting the Americans where it's needed. Due to a mixture of supply constraints, we can't really get this core down to Batavia like I wanted to, not for several turns. We could just wait it out here, but we took Brunei by surprise. This is another capital, and capitals are what I'm trying to prioritize due to the benefits owning an entire capital gives me. So we're going to just move this core over and drop it off at Brunei, which also serves as a way to protect the actual oil of Sarawak and Chungking more directly. So we have cores over here at these 2 different capitals. We do need to get one down here. Probably going to get it from Canton, the 5th core, which I'm just going to reinforce for the time being. I did want to get this up to full strength before I sent it out anywhere. It does need to get to a port as well, but it could also just go replace this one. This one could head out if that's necessary. But again, it's going to be some turns before we can directly land here. And with 240 MPPs remaining as Japan, I know exactly what I want to do with Japan. There are fronts that we need to pad out. And so we're going to go look at Thailand, and we are going to recruit another one of their cores. Their other only core that they can get. Fully formed, fully upgraded. Not the HQ at the moment. That is really, really expensive. And we have a Japanese HQ already down here that can take care of them anyway. We just need the extra manpower right now for the most part. We're not even going to earn an HQ's worth of MPPs in one turn. We're not able to do too much more with 43 MPPs, so don't expect any more big spending or anything like that. I had this as a focus of mine since, the last episode or 2. I wanted to get that Thai core duo up and running to fill in for the fact that I don't necessarily have enough land troops to maintain every front over here and out here as I would want to with Japan. Japan is always going to be stretched thin, and this is my way of dealing with it. There are no more cores to buy, so that is kind of figured out for the time being at least. We also still haven't actually gotten the DEI's oil to come back in, and that is a big chunk of MPPs that we want to have. However, we still have another special forces to allocate, so I'm going to take that. I'm going to force sail it out to Port Moresby, because I don't remember starting with anything in Port Moresby as the allies, so it should be undefended, because the AI should be pretty dumb about garrisoning things overseas, I think. And what do you know, I'm right. This could have been really bad if they had a ship here, honestly. So I'm glad that they didn't. We're gonna land. We took some casualties. We lost our elite reinforcement, basically, but we landed. We took the capital, Port Moresby, taken. This provides some MPPs, not a lot, but it is a national morale objective for the UK as well. It will claim all of New Guinea for me once the turn goes over, and project myself, alongside the Solomon Islands over here. It also gives me this stuff right here, and we just take all of this stuff in pretty much one go. Oh yeah, and Rabaul. Rabaul's part of New Guinea. That's going to have some MPPs as well. We gain all these ports. And so we're really filling in over here. The only thing we're going to be missing island-wise is this. And this has an NM value 15 mine, which, as I remember, the Japanese actually went out of their way to attack in my allied playthrough. So we might do the same thing. However, I believe that's all we're going to have time for today. So we'll continue and probably finish off this turn, most likely, on the next episode. So for now, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.